Hi there and welcome to this workshop. I didn't actually record it, I wasn't planning to, and then it was so beautiful that I decided to actually just record the slides of all the journaling prompts and things so that you can do it in your own time. It's such a potent one to get you to connect back to your creativity as a kind of a bonus if you struggle a little bit with scrolling your phone and not doing all of the creative things that you wish you were doing. It also really helps with that. So I shall bring up the slides, and what you can do is just pause on every slide where I'm giving you an exercise to do, and you can just not do it. You can just do it. Can you tell I've just done a workshop and I'm doing another one back to back? Okie dokie. So if you don't know me, I'm Kia Cannons. These are a few things that I do, just so you can understand why I'm talking to you about this. So I'm an intuitive mentor. I'm a tarot reader, an artist, a shamanic practitioner, and a speaker. I speak on the topic of resilience. I also teach something called the Intuitive Painting course, which teaches you how to go from the absolute blank page to creating a full series of studies, or perhaps finished works even, depending on how much experience you've got. And through that process, helping you find what is your style. I don't teach my style. I don't teach any style. I teach you how to find your own style. And this was featured in the Metro newspaper, and it is now kind of turned into a painting circle because everybody is so good now that they know what they're doing. So we're all just co-painting alongside each other. But I am about to relaunch the Intuitive Painting course at a different time of day, because we were always doing it on a Friday lunchtime, which meant a lot of people couldn't come. So if that is something that you're interested in and you have a preferred time, let me know, because I'm literally just gathering people's thoughts right now on that. You might also know me from Psychologies magazine. For 18 months, I had a column all about how to find your purpose. I also have a whole course on how to do that, if you're interested in that as well. The main thing that I do at the moment is I host an online self-help book club, and we go from having masterclasses on personal development, spirituality, intuition, creativity, that kind of thing, to having a pop-up book club. And we usually run those for a few months, but we are about to start on Wednesday The Artist's Way, which you might have heard of, which is a full transformational 12-step program by Julia Cameron, and it is amazing. But because it is quite a lot of work to do each week, we are doing it over a whole year. So the weekly content for the book and the weekly chapters, you actually have a whole month for. So that is another thing that I do. And in fact, everybody that has already done The Artist's Way with me have the option to do her next book, which is The Vein of Gold. So that's the book that I will be doing. Other things that I do, I regularly host sister circles. I do them in this beautiful forest. Here are some pictures of us all sat around the fire. I also do them at my home in Hampshire. I can see a terrible typo on the screen, but we'll just ignore that. I also do art workshops in the forest. And so really what I do, I've got it in quotes here, is I help women figure out the creative work that they're called to do in this world. I help them connect into their intuition so that they are following their own guidance rather than what their brain thinks is a sensible idea. So that's who I am. Let's dive into the workshop. So meeting your creative self. First thing I want you to do is just ask yourself, when did you last feel creatively alive? Not just creative, but alive. And also, once you've tuned into what that is, ask yourself, what was I doing at the time? So right now, just pause me and go away and have a little think about that for as long as you need to, journal on it, and then come back. So welcome back if you've just paused me. Now you've kind of got that bit of awareness. Just really remember what it felt like to feel that creatively alive. It was when I ran this workshop inside my membership, Untold Happiness, that's kind of a book club at the moment. It's when I did this about a month ago, or maybe two, that I realized I want to feel like that all the time. I loved feeling creatively alive. Even as somebody who is a creative and has a whole creative business, I couldn't actually say, once I asked myself this question, that I'd felt really creative alive for a while. And when I thought back to when I did, I have kept anchoring back to that memory, and that has changed something in me. It's been the thing, along with the other exercises we're going to do tonight, that has made me go, oh my gosh, I actually am going to get up from the living room lounge, sitting down and relaxing and watching Netflix, or I'm going to get up from that. I'm going to turn all that off, and I'm going to come out to my art studio here, which is in my home, and I'm going to do something. And I've done everything from pottery. I've been making these beautiful pots. I've been making all these beautiful pine smudges, which I've been binding and ceremoniously and getting those all ready for a beautiful solstice event that I've got coming up. I've been junk journaling. In fact, I'll show you my latest one that I was just doing this morning. I already had started this page. You can't see it because it's pretty small. But anyway, I did some more this morning. I just can't stop creating. And this question is a key part of it. So moving on from this, ask yourself now to think about 10 what I'm calling wild ideas. So if you had no constraints, you could not fail creatively, money was no object, what would you try this year? This is a rapid fire. So set yourself about 4 minutes and go ahead and answer that question. Doesn't matter if it's crazy and if it makes no sense, just rapid fire. What would you do if you had no constraints, couldn't fail, money's no object? What 10 wild ideas would you try this year? So press pause and get going with that. And if you're just unpausing, perfect, well done. That will give you some ideas of things that you might actually want to be thinking about when you are perhaps trying to scroll your phone less or what have you. You'll have these ideas that maybe you can pour some energy into those. Okay, we haven't got the chat, obviously, as this is recorded for you, but answer this question in your journal. And again, just go with what comes out of your mind. Just pause me in a moment and ask yourself to answer this prompt. My creativity feels. Okay, pause me and journal on that. Okay, so welcome back from pausing me there. You've answered my creativity feels. That will give you some beautiful insights as to where you are at. It will orientate you on a map of here, this is where I am, this is what I feel like, and that will be really useful for you. And I've just got a little quote at the bottom to remind you that you're not becoming creative, you are remembering. You already are creative. Life may have just got in the way. We've had lockdown. A lot of my creativity kind of went out the window. That pure, amazing aliveness that I was talking about at the beginning of this, that diminished with the practicalities of lockdown. And then it takes something like this workshop to be intentional about getting it back. So yeah, just a reminder, you're not becoming creative, you're just remembering. Okay, next exercise. I want you to list 5 activities that you feel pulled to do, but you keep avoiding for some reason. And once you've written those things down, and these are kind of creative activities, maybe I should have added that word, 5 creative activities you feel pulled to do, but you keep avoiding for some reason. And then when you finish that, read your list and rank them in order of what you'd be most excited to do first. So out of these 5 things, if I actually had the confidence or the time or whatever the constraint is that's making you resist doing it, what's the one thing that you would want to do first? So then rank them in order. And write down the first step to experiencing your top ranking choice and then schedule it in your diary. No matter how small, it might be just, I just want to Google something. I just want to go down a rabbit hole on something. I just need to pull out an old book, find my old dance shoes, look up and see if there's any classes in whatever, ceramics, it could be anything. So go ahead and pause me and go through all of that. Okay, welcome back after doing that exercise. We've now got, I think, one of our final exercises, which is our creative identity guided writing. So you are going to put yourself about 7 minutes on a little countdown clock or on your phone, whatever, and you're going to write yourself a letter where you're going to start, "Dear creative self, I'm sorry I abandoned you when ... and then at some point flow into, I am willing now to ... Okay, go ahead and pause me and do that and then come back. Okay, well done with that exercise. There would have been a visualization if we were here live. I'm not going to be able to do that with you on this recording, but this is your final prompt. And this is now to kind of take everything that has come up for you in this workshop and ask yourself to answer this prompt. I give myself permission to. Pause me and just write on that prompt for as long as you need to. And welcome back. Okay, that is the end of our workshop. Hopefully what that will have done is given you a taste of the magic that I have experienced from the Artist's Way. As I mentioned before on social media and things, I taught this workshop inside my membership because we're gearing up right now to start the book, The Artist's Way, that I've already mentioned. And we just wanted to get going. So I just took some exercises that are inspired by the style of the kind of prompts that you get inside the Artist's Way, and the kind of sharing, like if we'd been live together, we'd have the opportunity to share some of our answers. And that is very much what the Artist's Way is about. Everybody answers the same questions, and then they get into breakout rooms and they have the opportunity to share any answers that feel really alive for them, or have kind of surprised them, or they just feel like they need to voice it. And a really magical thing happens when you start sharing what you're processing. When it's just kept in your head, as often the things that are exciting us creatively do, because we feel protective about them and we feel a bit vulnerable sharing them, they tend to just stay there. And we just noodle on them, and we just resist and resist and resist and avoid, and we find ourselves busy and we don't really do anything. When we talk about them in front of each other, a bit like I do, that's what I do in Sister Circles, we get to voice and process what's coming up for us. This incredible magic happens where you suddenly understand yourself better. You understand, just by verbalizing what is going on inside your head, how you actually feel, what the next steps might be, and what you actually want to do about whatever's coming up for you. And so we do that in the Artist's Way, and also we get to hear each other's answers. And just on that, when we did it live tonight, the answers that I heard, I was like, oh my gosh, the 10 wild ideas. Like, I want to do some of those wild ideas. One of them was like wild camping. One of them was going around all of these beautiful bookshops in the UK, all the independent ones, and buying a book and then maybe doing something where you're sharing about this book and this shop that you went to. And there's just so much goodness. And so that is what I will just leave you on, just an invitation that if you enjoyed this evening, then this is a taste of the Artist's Way. I shared it because it just has got me off my phone and got me feeling creatively alive again. And I just wanted to share with you, if you wanted to do the Artist's Way, or if you've already done the Artist's Way, a bunch of us have already done it in my membership 2 years ago. So we will be doing the next following book, which you may not know about, I didn't until recently, which is called The Vein of Gold. Exactly the same style, essays, teaching you about stuff, helping you to be more boundaried and that kind of thing. And also giving you these beautiful prompts. They're the kind of questions, like the questions we did tonight, are the kind of questions that I wish somebody had asked me at school. And these books are jam-packed full of these fun, frivolous, exciting questions, which seem really light, but actually they're very powerful, and they're a very amazing tool at bringing you back to your truth and who you really are. And it's like it helps you with your inner compass, shifting you into what you're really here to do. So we start this on Wednesday the 15th of April. Here are some testimonials from the members, from my membership, because like I said earlier, we do self-help masterclasses in between our book clubs. So there is a library chock full of the last 5 years worth of masterclasses. And so this is what some people have said about working with me. And I also have this free bonus that if you join today, and so whenever you're watching this, if it's before the end of Wednesday, the 15th of April, then if you decide to join the membership, and it's monthly, so you can leave any time. If you just find you don't want to prioritize the Artist's Way, that is absolutely fine, you can leave. But if you do join before the close of play on Wednesday, you'll also receive a free one-to-one with me. So that is a 55-minute intuitive mentoring session where we can do tarot reading, or we can do inner voice facilitation, or just simply sharing, listening, and sharing my experience and thoughts on whatever you would like to have a second pair of eyes on. So that's the end of this workshop. I hope you've enjoyed this little recording, and it would be fantastic to see you inside Untold Happiness if you'd like to. Bye. I haven't actually stopped it. I just stopped sharing, didn't I? So I get to say goodbye to you all over again. Bye.